Good afternoon, students. In the last lecture, we have started the atomic properties of first series of transition elements. There is the last atomic property of last lecture, color. There is the color, magnetic properties, metallic character. All these are completed. There are 2-3 questions asking on color and magnetic properties. First completed and then started the remaining atomic properties of first series of transition elements. There is the first question on color. Why the salts of scandium 3 plus, titanium 4 plus and vanadium 5 plus are colorless? Why the salts of scandium 3 plus, titanium 4 plus and vanadium 5 plus are colorless? The color of transition metal ions and their compounds are mainly depends on the number of unpaired electrons. If the atom, ions and the compound they does not have the number of unpaired electrons, then they appear as colorless. Then how you write the answer of this question? First, write the electronic configuration of scandium 3 plus, titanium 4 plus and vanadium 5 plus. The color of compound depends on the number of unpaired electrons. Then scandium 3 plus, scandium atom having the atomic number 21 and scandium electronic configuration is argon 3d1 for sp. Then scandium 3 plus electronic configuration is only the argon. There is a removal of 3 electrons from the outermost shell of scandium. That means there is no d electrons and s electrons. So there is no unpaired electrons in the valence. So scandium 3 plus forms the colorless compound. Same here titanium 4 plus and vanadium titanium 4 plus. Titanium having the atomic number 22. There is a removal of 4 electrons. That means the atomic number is 18 and this shows the atomic number of argon. So titanium 4 plus also form the colorless compound. Then there is vanadium 5 plus. Vanadium having the atomic number 23. Right? There is a removal of total 5 electrons. Vanadium 5 plus. The atomic number is 18 and this is the only argon 4. Due to this, scandium 3 plus, titanium 4 plus and vanadium 5 plus, there is no unpaired electron in d orbital. They show the completely filled electronic configuration of argon. So they does not form the colored compound. They form the colorless compound. Clear? Then there is a second question on magnetic property. Why zinc metal and zinc 2 plus ions? Why zinc metal and zinc 2 plus ion, that is Zn2 plus ion, are diamagnetic in nature? Are diamagnetic. Okay? See here, according to the magnetic property, that paramagnetism and the ferromagnetism depends on the number of unpaired electrons. But for the diamagnetic, all the electron spins are paired. Then you see that metal and iron are diamagnetic in nature. Then see a zinc metal. That zinc metal Zn is 30. The electronic configuration of zinc is argon 3d10 4s2. There is all electrons are paired in 4s orbital and 3d orbital. So zinc metal is diamagnetic in nature. All electrons are paired. Then your second one is zinc 2 plus. There is a removal of 2 electrons from the 4s. and that form the electronic configuration are bonds 3D 10. There is total 10 electrons in 3D. There is also all electron spins are paired. So zinc metal and zinc 2 plus ions are diamagnetic in nature. Clear? Then there is a next atomic property, catalytic property. Catalytic property of first series of transition elements. Catalytic property means all the transition elements or first series of transition elements, they are acts as a catalyst. Most of them, they are acts as a catalyst. They show good catalytic properties. They show good catalytic properties. They act as a catalyst. And there is two types of catalyst. That one is homogeneous catalyst and second is the heterogeneous catalyst. The first series of transition elements, or you see all the transition elements, most of them, they act as a both type of catalyst. They show the homogeneous catalysis reaction or they show the heterogeneous catalysis reaction. Why they show the both catalytic property or they show the homogeneous or heterogeneous? Because of their ability to participate in different oxidation reduction steps of catalytic reaction. They participate in oxidation reduction steps involved in catalytic reaction. Clear? Due to this, they are acts as a catalyst. First, what is the catalyst? Catalyst is a substance that increase the rate of reaction. Okay? The catalyst, when catalyst added in the reaction, that influence the rate of reaction by decreasing energy of activation. And how this catalyst decrease the energy of activation? Catalysts have a tendency to alter the path of reaction, and due to this altering the path of reaction, that takes the minimum time to complete the reaction. Means there is an increase in rate of reaction. That catalysts have a tendency to form the intermediate with the reactant, and this intermediate on decomposition to form the product with the regeneration of catalyst. Clear? This is the catalytic mechanism behind the catalytic reaction. Clear? These are the two types of catalytic reactions in homogeneous catalysis reaction. The metal ions participate by forming unstable intermediate. The metal ions participate to form unstable intermediate. After the formation of these unstable intermediate, on decomposition, this intermediate converted into the product with the regeneration of catalyst. And in the second catalysis reaction, that is in heterogeneous, the metals of transition elements, they provide the surface for the reactants to react. They provide the surface on which the reactants to react. according to the heterogeneous catalytic reactions, metal provides the surface. They provide the surface to reactants to react. On the surface of metal surface, that reactants react and converted into the product with the regeneration of catalyst. There are the many examples, or most of the transition elements, they are acts as a catalyst, or their compounds are acts as a catalyst. For example, see here, there is the first compound of manganese, that is manganese dioxide MnO2. The examples of catalysts of first transition series are here. Manganese dioxide MnO2 acts as a catalyst. In the decomposition of KClO3. That is twice KClO3 gives twice KCl plus thrice O2. During this decomposition, that requires the MnO2. MnO2 increase the rate of decomposition of KClO3. Then there is a second example in the manufacturing of ammonia. By Haber's process. There is a molybdenum ion is used as a catalyst. That increase the rate of reaction. Clear? This reaction you already studied in 11th standard in the P block elements. Right? Then next example, cobalt-thorium alloy is used in Fischer-Tropsch process in synthesis of gasoline. Then next, nickel. Nickel is used as a catalyst in many hydrogenation reactions. For example, conversion of ethene to ethane. CH2 double bond CH2 plus hydrogen. There is a catalyst nickel to form ethane CH3. This reaction requires a temperature of 140 degrees Celsius. Okay? That nickel absorb on the surface of that hydrogen absorbed on the surface of nickel and then reacted with the ethene to form the ethane. This is a heterogeneous catalytic reaction. Clear? Then there is the next one in the contact process for the manufacturing of sulfuric acid. You are already studied in last lesson. There is a fourth step involved in the contact process. There is a first step, oxidation of sulfur to form sulfur dioxide, and there is a second step, oxidation of sulfur dioxide, twice SO2 plus O2, to form twice SO3, and there is the catalyst platinized asbestos. Right? There is again one example given in that iron chromium acts as the catalyst. That steam reacted with the carbon monoxide in presence of iron chromium catalyst to form carbon dioxide and the hydrogen. There is a simple reaction CO plus H2O, carbon monoxide plus P. There is the catalyst iron chromium to form CO2 plus H2. To form CO2 plus H2. Clear? These are some examples of catalyst of first series of transition elements and their compounds. Then there is a second atomic property, formation of interstitial compounds. Formation of interstitial compounds. See here. First one, what is the interstitial compound? Right? In your 11th standard, you are studying the one topic, hydrides. Hydrides. Metals, non-metals. Then all the elements of modern periodic table reacted with the hydrogen to form the hydride. There is the one type of hydride, interstitial hydride. And these interstitial hydrides are similar with the interstitial compounds of first series of transition elements. Then what is the interstitial compound first? When the small size atoms, nitrogen, carbon, hydrogen. When the small size atoms, nitrogen, carbon, hydrogen are trapped in interstitial spaces within the crystal lattices of transition elements, the compounds are formed, called the interstitial compounds. Called the interstitial compounds. See, transition elements have the defect in their crystal lattices. They having the small holes in their crystals. They have a tendency to trap the small size atoms inside them to form the new compound. That compounds are called the interstitial compounds. They are called the interstitial compounds. Sometimes the oxides and sulfides trapped in their crystal lattices. Sometimes oxides and sulfides. See here, the small size atoms, nitrogen, carbon and hydrogen, they trapped inside the crystal lattices of transition elements. Same here, small size oxides and sulfides also trapped in their lattices. For example, steel and cast iron. Steel and cast iron. Steel and cast iron are the example of interstitial compounds of. They are the interstitial compounds of carbon and iron. Carbon and iron. In these compounds, the property of metals, malleability and ductility of iron are lost to a lesser and greater extent, whereas the tenacity of metal increases. Again repeat, in these compounds, that means in the interstitial compounds like steel and cast iron, the properties of metals, malleability and ductility of iron are lost to lesser or greater extent, whereas the tensile strength of metal increases. Whereas the tenacity of metal increases. Clear? Then there are some properties of interstitial compounds are given. There is the first property. See, the small size atoms are trapped on the crystal lattices of transition elements. That means they showing a different property with the parent metal ion, but they showing some similar property with the parent metal ion. Right? Then which are the properties? They show the similar and different. There is the first one, they are hard and good conductor of heat and electricity. That means they show the same property as the parent metal ion. They are the hard and good conductor of heat and electricity. There is the second property, their chemical properties. They show the similar chemical properties as the parent metal. They show the same chemical property as the parent metal ion. Then third one, their melting point and boiling points are higher than the pure metal. Melting point and boiling points are higher than parent metal ion. Right? Why their melting point and boiling points are higher? See here, that nitrogen, carbon and hydrogen, they are trapped inside the crystal lattices of transition elements. That means there is a formation of non-metal with the metal. There is a formation of bonding between non-metal and metal. And in your pure metal, there is a bonding of metal-metal. And non-metal and metal bonding is stronger as compared to the metal-metal. So their melting point and boiling point are higher as compared to the pure metal. Then there is the next property. Their densities are smaller. Densities are smaller as compared to the parent metal. As compared to the parent metal. The next one. The metallic carbides are chemically inert. The transition elements reacted with the carbon to form the carbides, and these carbides are chemically inert, and they are extremely hard. They are extremely hard as the diamond. They are extremely hard as the diamond. So these carbides are used for cutting tools. Because of the hardness, they are used for cutting tools. Okay? The next property, hydrides are used as powerful reducing agent. Hydrides are used as powerful reducing agent. That means the industrial hydrides, hydrogen is trapped on the surface of transition elements to form the industrial hydrides, and they are used as powerful reducing agent. Clear? These are some properties of industrial compounds, and there are the two uses of industrial compounds are given in textbook. There is the first use, tungsten carbide. See here, there is the general metallic carbides are very hard, so they are used for cutting tools. Example, tungsten carbide. And second, iron carbide. Iron carbide is used in manufacturing of steel. Iron carbide is used in manufacturing of steel. These are the two uses of industrial compounds are given in textbook. Clear? There is a question asking us what is industrial compound and write their properties. Then there is the next topic, formation of alloy. Transition elements have a tendency to form the alloy. Then first, what is the alloy? Alloys form. What is the alloy? Alloys form where atoms of one metal are distributed randomly in the lattices of another metal. Alloys are, what do you say, how alloys are formed? Where atoms of one metal are distributed randomly in the lattice of another metal. Here, the metals with similar radii, and similar properties metals with similar radii and similar properties readily forms the alloy. These alloys are classified into the two types. The first is ferrous alloy and second is the non-ferrous alloy. In ferrous alloy, there is a main constituent is the iron. There is a more percentage of iron is present in ferrous alloy, and non-ferrous alloy means there is no presence of iron. Then see that ferrous alloys have the atoms of other elements distributed randomly in atoms of iron in mixture. Right? Ferrous alloys mean the atoms of other elements other than the iron that distributed randomly in the atoms of iron in mixture. That means the iron plus other atoms, they form the ferrous alloy. And non-ferrous, they does not contain the iron. Then see, in the ferrous alloy there is a higher percentage of iron. Right? There is a higher percentage of iron, so these are called the ferrous alloy. There are the 2-3 examples of ferrous alloy is given. First is nickel steel, second is chromium steel, then third is stainless steel. All these steels having the 2% of carbon. They having the 2% of carbon. Then your second type is non-ferrous alloy. These non-ferrous alloys are formed by mixing atoms of transition metals other than iron with non-transition metals. They are formed by the transition metal other than iron with non-transition metal. And there is an example of non-ferrous alloy is, you all have known, anyone? Brass. This brass is the alloy of copper and zinc. Clear? The transition elements, most of them have a tendency to form the alloy. The atom of one element is distributed randomly in the atom of another element of metal to form the alloys. There are some uses of alloys given in textbook for the transition elements. See here. Their uses. There is the first use, bronze. Bronze is the alloy of copper and tin. This bronze is the strong and corrosion resistant. It is the strong and corrosion resistant. That means it is used for making statues, medals and trophies. Statues, medals and trophies. Because bronze is the strong and corrosion resistant. So it is used to make statues, medals and trophies. Then second alloy, cupra nickel. Cupra nickel. This cupra nickel is the alloy of copper and nickel. It is the alloy of copper and nickel used for making machinery part of marine ship. It is used for making machinery parts of marine ships and boats. They are used to form marine condenser tubes. Marine condenser tubes for marine ships and boats. There is a third one, stainless steel. Stainless steel is used in construction of outer fuselage of ultra high speed aircraft. Stainless steel is used in construction of outer fuselage of ultra high speed aircraft. Then there is the next fuse, nichrome. This nichrome is the alloy of nickel and chromium. Nickel and chromium. In this, nickel is present in 80% and chromium is in 20%. It is used for developing specifically. Nichrome has been developed specifically for gas turbine engine. Gas turbine engine. Where is nichrome is used? Nichrome is the alloy of nickel and chromium. Has been developed specifically to make gas turbine engines. Clear? And there is the last one, titanium alloy. Titanium alloys. They are used for ultra high speed flight and fireproof bulkheads. Ultra high speed flight and fireproof bulkheads. These are some alloys of transition elements, or you say the alloys of first series of transition elements and their uses. Here, these are the atomic properties of first series of transition elements. These transition elements are placed in the d block element, that is the middle part of modern periodic table. These d block elements contains the total 4 series of transition elements. These d block elements, they showing some common properties between all series, and also they showing some different properties between 4 series. Then first talking about the common properties of all d block elements. In these common properties of d block elements, there are some physical properties and there are some chemical properties. There is the first common physical properties of D block elements. First one, the transition elements or D block elements. Most of them are metals. So showing the metallic properties, first, all these are lustrous and they are shiny elements. They are shiny elements. Second, they are hard. They are hard and have high density. They are hard and have high density. They are the metals. They are the hard means they showing the higher melting point and boiling point. Right? All D block elements having the higher melting point and higher boiling point due to the hardness, because of their higher metallic character. Then fourth one, they are the good electrical and thermal conductors. They are the good electrical and thermal conductors. The next one, they having the high tensile strength and malleability. They having the high tensile strength and malleability. They have a tendency to form the alloys. They have a tendency to form alloys with transition elements and non-transition elements. They form the alloy with both with transition elements and non-transition elements. Next one, many metals and their compounds. Many metals and their compounds are paramagnetic in nature. Because their valence contains the number of unpaired electrons. So they are paramagnetic in nature. And last one, most of them and their compounds are as catalysts. Most of them and their compounds are acts as catalysts. These are some common physical properties of D block elements. Then there are some common properties, that is chemical properties. They also show the similar chemical properties. These D block elements are placed in between S block elements and the P block elements. There is the first chemical property. All D block elements are electropositive metal. But they are less electropositive as compared to the S block elements. There is the second D block element showing the variable valencies. So they show the variable valencies. So they form complexes. So they have a tendency to form the complexes. There is a third similar chemical property. They are acts as a good reducing agent. They are acts as a good reducing agent. Next one, they form insoluble oxides and hydroxides. They have a tendency to form insoluble oxides and hydroxides. Okay. The next chemical property, out of these D block elements, for example, iron, copper, cobalt, molybdenum and zinc. They showing the biological importance. They having the biological importance. Then last chemical property, they are act as a catalyst according to the physical property. So they are used in catalyze biological reaction. They show the chemical property catalyze biological reaction. Catalyze biological reaction. These are some common physical and chemical properties. There are some different properties in between these four series. There are the difference between first series and the second and the third series. The differences between the d block elements. See, most of the properties exhibited by d block elements are similar, but the first series differs from the second and third in stabilization of higher oxidation state in their compounds. That first series is different from second and third in the stabilization of higher oxidation states in their compounds. For example, molybdenum 5 and tungsten 6 compounds are more stable. These compounds are more stable than chromium 6 and manganese 7 compound. Okay. There is again second, the highest oxidation state of first row. That means first series. That manganese showing the +7. That means first series is the +7, and there is the third series showing the highest +8, and the compound of this +8 is given RuO4 and second is OsO4. That Ru and OS exist in a +8 oxidation state. This is the difference between first series and the third series in their oxidation state. They show the difference for the stabilization of higher oxidation state in their compound. This is just one difference for d block elements. Otherwise, they showing the similar properties. Clear?